Why do Newcastle keep getting rejected by everyone? I mean, they on course to have one of the worst transfer windows ever seen. In this video, I'm going to talk about why Newcastle keep getting rejected by absolutely everyone, and how they're on course to sell their best player. Before I start, could you like, comment, share, subscribe, and thank you for doing so. Now let's start off with why they keep getting rejected. Currently, so far, they've tried to get Xisco, and that's failed. That was their last key target that just got rejected. That they got rejected from. And the reason why they keep getting rejected is, yes, they're Champions League football. Yes, they're a big club, but the thing is, everyone else, they don't recognize him. They don't recognize them outside of England. The other major clubs, they don't recognize, and the players, they don't recognize Newcastle as a big club. They're not part of the big six, which is why Tottenham and Man United, they can sign players that Newcastle might have wanted. So far, they have signed Alanga, which is great. But I feel like the only players they can really get is in the Premier League, or players who aren't going to be, poached by the big six clubs. And they need to try and change that reputation and make sure they're part of the big six. Yes, in the last 2 seasons, 5th and 4th respectively, but they haven't changed the reputation that they're part of the big six. The big six is still Man United, Tottenham. What they need to do is, for like another 2 seasons, they need to probably win another trophy, like an FA Cup, like how Crystal Palace did, and finish in the top 4 for 2-3 seasons in a row. Then I feel like they could be considered a big club. For me, they have a great project, and they have a lot of money, definitely. And maybe other clubs kind of take advantage of that situation, that they have a lot of money. And it's just very unfortunate to be a Newcastle fan right now, and it's the whole institution overall, and they probably need to improve them. And I feel like that's my way of them improving on that and make a reputation of, we're one of the big clubs. And the reason Isaac he wants to go is basically he sees Liverpool as a bigger club. Currently, right now, they even finished higher league position, and that definitely makes Liverpool a better club right now, a better squad, better project. And even an Ekitike, so it's not definitely going to stop, but they convinced him somehow, and he's even forced to stream the reserves. In my opinion, it's probably fair, to be honest. He wants to leave, and he might as well do that. And I feel like he definitely sees Liverpool as a big club, and in my opinion, they probably are. I mean, they definitely are, and that's probably the main reason why. Even though they've gonna sign a €95 million striker, he still thinks he can go in and he'll be better at Liverpool. And to be fair, they do have a better squad. It's kind of, at some parts, an aging squad, but they do have a better squad. And it's clear that Isaac believes he's good enough. And it just Newcastle could keep him, but I don't think there's any chance of Newcastle keeping him. For Newcastle, probably other alternatives to replace Isaac, probably the best chance is Nicholas Jackson. As a Chelsea fan, I'm saying this because he's incredibly underrated and incredibly overhated. His finishing is not the best. He's not like Isaac level finishing. But he has aspects that he's better than Isaac. His link-up play is phenomenal. Genuinely one of the best. His link-up play as a striker. And he's great at finding those spaces, makes great runs, and a lot of chances he actually makes himself. When you watch him play, he'll actually make his chances himself. And I wish he could stay at Chelsea, but I don't think so. And Newcastle, if only can have a loan, but it's going to cost a lot, £80 million. In my opinion, in this day and age, I still don't think he's worth £80 million. Maybe 60 million, 50 million, I'd take him. But as a loan, you might as well take him an optional future fee to do that. And if I'm Newcastle, I'll definitely go and get Nicholas Jackson. And another question I have is, does Sunderland have more pulling power? Are they a bigger club than Newcastle right now? I mean, look at what Sunderland have done. They've signed Granit Xhaka, a Premier League player, a guy who was playing for Arsenal before, and they've signed a plethora of players. And Newcastle, they've only really signed Alanga. That's one of the only big signings, unless I'm forgetting some. And Aaron Ramsdale also. But Alanga's great, but Ramsdale, yes, he's a great goalkeeper, but he's signed for Southampton. It's not much pulling power, taking players off of Southampton. No, for Southampton fans. And I just feel like the Sunderland have bigger pulling power, and I'll answer that myself. I think definitely not. Yes, they're signing more players, but it's the caliber of players that Sunderland are signing, and not in a good way. They're signing players that are probably, exception to this is probably Granit Xhaka. He's probably like at least mid-table, and I mean he won the league with Leverkusen. He's probably at least mid-table, and I feel like Jordan Henderson. Not Jordan Henderson, Granit Xhaka. He's the only exception to this, and the players that they're signing are mainly just players who can help them, survive relegation. Whereas Newcastle are trying to find Champions League level players, and that's why it's so hard for them to go and sign the Champions League level players. And I hope they explained that well. Could you like, comment, share, subscribe, and let me know, who do you think Newcastle will actually sign? Do you think they're going to have one of the worst transfer windows in history? Let me know, do you think Jackson will be a great alternative to Isak? Thank you for watching, guys.